Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. And today it's Friday, 23rd of August, and again today we'll talk about Nvidia and semiconductors because the development yesterday actually was quite interesting. Despite us showing positive sentiment on the RSI, it actually formed a top and reversal pattern. This is what we call a bearish engulfing. Market closed here at 130. No, it closed at 130 smack on, and opened yesterday at 130.02, and it closed lower than the previous 3 days of trading. So that is actually a top and reversal pattern. So it could spell some trouble for Nvidia, and the same picture on the SOX index, actually the semiconductor ETF. Look at that. Massive bearish engulfing, taking out 1, 2, 3, 4 days of bullish trading, almost 5 days of bullish trading, back below this 235.60 level, and RSI never closed above 60 threshold. So that is a bit of a worry for US semiconductors and technology stocks in general. Very quickly look at the also the technology sector, the ETF here also. 1, 2, 3, 4 days of trading, positive bullish trading, wiped away in one session. That is a bit of a warning sign, I will say. So be very cautious there. Also the S&P 500 top and reversal pattern that formed, taking out the past 2 days, almost 3 days of bullish trading. We're still in a positive sentiment, but that is a bit of a worry, I would say. It needs to close above yesterday's peak at 5,643 and a change, as you can see here, to cancel this. I think we could be in for a little bit of a rough ride here the next today and going into next week. Same picture here really on Nasdaq 100, 1, 2, 3 days, taking out. Really, the sellers are back in control. It didn't even test 20,041 resistance, this gap area up here. So quite a bad signal for bulls. But again, it can't be cancelled if it takes out and closes above yesterday's peak. On the European markets, we have Eurostoxx 50 testing 49.07 yesterday, trading just below here now, and the RSI is still below 60 threshold, meaning we're still in negative sentiment. So it could, I predict we will probably close a little bit lower today. We have the 55 moving average tracking down a little bit, so it could be caught range bound here. So it really needs to close about 49.07 and preferably 49.08 to build on this, but that could still be a false break. Here we have the DAX index testing 18,558 resistance, just below it. We are in a positive sentiment, so we should push higher, but it could also be hit by a selling pressure if it continues in US later today. We have the the AX index, a little bit of a shooting star or an inverted hammer-like pattern here, just below the 55 moving average. And if we move back below 900, well, then we could see selling pressure resuming and RSI showing negative sentiment. So there is some risk of that, I would say, actually quite big risk of that. CAC 40. 7,585, just below there. We are still trading up. We have the 55 moving average declining. We are still negative sentiment. If it can't close above 60 threshold and can't close above this resistance here, then I think we'll see a CAC 40 sliding back lower. And the Swiss market stalling a little bit. Maybe it can't get all the way up there, but it is in a bullish trend. There's no signs of worry at the moment, other than the RSI is struggling a little bit. I think it actually did close above. No, it did not. It did not close above. So it's still negative sentiment on the RSI too. So we could see a setback. So let's see here the next couple of days. I think it will take a little bit longer for it to test a previous all-time high, if it will actually do that. Euro dollar. Well, formed kind of a bearish engulfing yesterday. Also, let's see where it opened. Yesterday, it opened at 111.50, closed the day before at 11.50, so same price really, and it's quite usual. It's not unusual in the FX market since we don't have a real close around 11 p.m. Our time, but it was nevertheless a top and reversal indication. Still bullish on the R side, positive on the R side, but I think we'll see a correction lower to 110.60, maybe all the way down to 110 level, around this level, before I think we will push higher. The medium-term bullish picture is still intact, as we can see here. And that will take a lot to really demolish that, which I don't think will occur. The Euro sterling, it's currently trading around the 61.8, actually dipping the low a little bit, 61.8 retracement at 84.75. I think it will find some support here, and we also have the RSI still above 40 threshold, meaning we're still in a positive sentiment. If it can bounce from here, then we will see the RSI breaking above the upper falling trend line. That could be an indication of the Euro sterling turning around. However, it looks fairly heavy with all the moving averages basically pointing lower or declining, and we could see a sell-off down to 84.35. So keep an eye on that. Be cautious a little bit here. There could be more selling pressure coming in. Cable pushing higher towards the 131.35, and I also look at the weekly here. It is actually breaking above here, and if it also takes out 131.45, 46, which is the Pico here, well, then there is much more in store for cable, and that could probably tell you that, well, maybe your sterling is not moving that much. There is not much strong resistance until around 135, 136 area up in this area here. I will actually put it right there. As you see, this is currently is a very strong resistance we are nearing here, and I would expect a correction if we reach 131.45 level, just peaking above. Then I expect a correction, but it is in a bullish trend on the medium term also. Dollar yen actually formed what looks like a bottom and reversal pattern, despite it not showing any divergence. However, we saw this doji the other day, and we had a bearish move the previous 3 days, and then we had a bullish day yesterday. That could be a bottom and reversal pattern forming. It does look a little bit like a doji morning, just around the 61.8 retracement. So we could see a bounce up to the strong resistance at 149.40. If it takes out the lows there at 144.45, well, then expect a new selling pressure resuming to around 142.5, possibly lower. Euro yen still in this range here between 160.55 and 164, so it needs to break out of that. More or less the same picture on Aussie yen, really, 96.75 and 99.20. Sterling yen also a bit range bound between 187.85 and 191.90, I would say 192. Aussie dollar, well, it formed a top and reversal pattern, quite unusual without getting all the way up to the 68 level. It can still do that, but it needs to take out the peak here at 67.62 to do so. But it actually formed a top and reversal like pattern, so we could see a correction lower, and I will actually do this just to have an idea how much it could actually correct down, because we are still in a bullish or positive sentiment. But a correction down to 66.5, where we have some support, maybe even down to 66, is not unlikely, especially if it takes out the lows from yesterday. Then I think we will see that maybe down in this region before next push higher. Dollar Canada, well, quite volatile, dancing around the 135.90 key support here. I will remove this one. It spiked below, but never closed below. It will have another go, it seems like, this morning. If it can do that, well, then there is not much stopping it until later, until we get down to around 135 450, but I don't think it will happen in a straight line. I still believe we will see a bit of correction and maybe that another sell-off lower. Euro-Swiss still keeping itself above 94.45, which is the 38.2 retracement right there, and the RSI above 40. It is in a negative sentiment, but if it can keep itself above 40, well, then it could bounce a little bit back. If RSI drops below 40, close below 40, well, then expect a sell-off resuming in Euro-Swiss. Dollar-Swiss testing the support at 85. And the 786 retracement just around 85 here. We could see a bounce in the next couple of days towards the 86 level. Dollar index, also very interesting, actually formed a nice and beautiful bullish engulfing top and reversal bottom and reversal pattern. And we could see a bounce up to, and this is what you can do, is just like a guideline. At least 101.76, possibly all the way up to around 102.30, 102.37, around that level. Gold got hit by a sell-off yesterday. It dipped below the support at 24.84, but closed back above and is now bouncing a little bit again. We are still in an uptrend, as you can see, and we could push higher in the coming days. But let's see if it takes out the lows from yesterday at 24.70. Expect a larger correction down to test this lower rising trend line. Silver. Well, now back up below 29.45. It's really struggling, and sentiment still negative. It couldn't get back above 60 threshold, despite the fact that it actually did close above the resistance at 29.45. So that is a little bit of a worry for silver bulls. But let's see here the next couple of days. I think it will dance around 29.5 level before it will make up its mind, either falling back or really taking off. Copper also here just below the 422, just below 424, 21.65. It was right there. It really needs to close above that level, 422.35, and RSI needs to close above 60 threshold for a strong move up to 440, possibly higher. It could slide a little bit lower here, but I think we will have another go. On the energy side, we have WTI testing the previous lows here over the past couple of days. And again, if we look at the weekly chart, we can see what's actually going on, testing this key rising trend line here and key support. It hasn't really broken it yet. Same picture on Brent crude oil, so keep an eye on that. And again, there is more details in my oil report that I published, I think it was Wednesday. And the US 10-year Treasury yields bounced off the 379 support. Never closed below, but it did spike below a couple of times. I think we'll see a little bit of bounce here the next couple of days, but it will still be in this range here, between 3.95 up to maybe even 4%. If it takes out that at peak here, well, then see levels around 4.10, 4.15. If it takes out the lows here from a couple of days ago at 3.75, well, then expect new lower lows. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice weekend and happy trading.